Oh, there. Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. My laptop won't turn on, so I'm um, trying to use my tablet.
Okay. Everybody, having computer problems like Anna Monica seems to be. Anna Monica, could you mute yourself? Just unless you're going to say something more. Okay. Well, welcome, everybody. There's people still coming in. Maybe I'll start with some good news and some bad news. The good news is that Saladana finally got some doors and it looks phenomenal. It's beautiful and we can't use it because we're in lockdown. We have groups of 6 and there was one scheduled for Tuesday, but the teacher actually lives in one of the, I don't know what they're called, red zones or something. So he's not allowed to leave his zone for 2 weeks. So there won't be any sessions there for the foreseeable future, even though I do have some photos. I'm going to share them after the meditation. It looks great. And I guess we'll just sit there looking good. We won't use it. Crazy times, huh? So I thought the theme, if you want to call it that, for today would be from a quote that I like very much by a 8th or 9th century Chinese Zen master named Yunmen. And he was asked by his students, "Master, why a lifetime of practice? What is the goal of a lifetime of practice?" And his answer was an appropriate response. An appropriate response. And even though I know for some people the word appropriate can seem a little bit kind of judgmental, but so there's other translations, the correct response, you might say, the desired response, the desired answer. But I do think that's why we practice, to respond to this crazy life that we have, and it's gotten crazier, it seems, by the day, and some, especially in some parts of the world, and how to respond to it, And I think the more we practice, the clearer it becomes that most of the time, much of the time, the appropriate response is compassion. As some of you know, in the Mahayana tradition, they describe Buddhism as having 2 wings, like a bird, right, or a plane, 2 wings, and one of wisdom and one of compassion. And without one or the other, it would be impossible to fly, right? And much of the time, that compassion is really towards ourselves, right? I mean, I know this can be a very tough time. And for some people living in these 37 red zones of Madrid, which I'm being told by some people are where all the immigrants live. I don't know how true that is, but it's possible. They're locked down now for another 2 weeks. And I imagine that can, that's difficult. I'm a little nervous. It's like, am I in a red zone? I don't want to stay inside for 2 weeks. But to just like have that compassion, that self-compassion, right? That empathy. So I have a little article to read after the meditation with you guys about it, from a couple of wonderful teachers out of the UK. Anyways, but first we will meditate. I'm going to go ahead and give some instructions for those who would like to just launch right into a more open awareness of awareness type of practice. So I'll add that a little bit right at the beginning just to help those who want to go straight there kind of launch into it. But mainly we'll do the same, a samatha calming practice for the first 20 minutes. And then we'll open it up for those who are not already there to an awareness of awareness or natural awareness or open awareness practice. So if there's no questions or anybody who'd like to say something, we will begin. Turn on my timer. Okay, so let's find a comfortable posture. And try to arrive, right? Arrive into this present moment, the here and now. And usually these Sundays, we use the body because the body is always in the present moment, right? The body isn't like thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? What did I do yesterday? It's just right here, right now. So we take our attention and we move it into the body. And when we connect with the body, we can then bring the mind into the present moment as well. So you might take a couple deep breaths if that's helpful. Or you could do a body scan. In many traditions, we start off with our attention in the area of the belly. Maybe a little below the belly button or somewhere in that vicinity. Maybe noticing the breath, the movement of the belly because of the breath. And I like the deep breath at the outset because it really makes it obvious that there is a breath, movement of the belly. It's easy to notice it. Maybe notice the rising and the falling of the chest as well. The belly is such a useful place to put our attention because it has a calming effect on the nervous system. We breathe into the belly, it sends a message that all is well. When we're in fight or flight or even freeze maybe, the breath can become very shallow and very high up in the chest. So when we push it down into the belly, it's sending a message that we're safe. And hopefully we are, despite all the crazy threats that might seem like they're in all directions. So now if you want to go straight into an awareness of awareness practice or an open awareness practice, what you could do is now try to fill your body with awareness. Extend or amplify your awareness to feel your whole posture. Maybe even push it into your ears so that you're hearing, you're aware of your hearing as well. And this can be your anchor. When thoughts come, you notice them, you watch them go, you come back to this full body awareness. And for those of you who would like a more centered practice, let's find the breath. Pick a spot where the breath is very easy to follow, maybe even a bit pleasant to follow. And just relax into the breath, into that spot. And when thoughts come, we notice them. We don't block them or push them away. Then we just release them, let them go like clouds in the sky, and we come back to the breath. Maybe you like following the whole path of the breath. Maybe you like the nose, the nostrils, the chest, or the belly. Whatever works, whatever you enjoy, whatever keeps your attention, keeps you connected. And if you want to use labels, you can. That's supportive. Inhaling, exhaling, thinking, returning. If you are experiencing lots of thought, the mind is stuck on some subject or another, try not to be too upset with your mind. Sounds like it just needs to work something out. But you might try dropping into the body and feeling around for any sensation, any emotion, any tension, contraction that might be connected to the thinking. And just try to rest with the sensation until it passes. Just seeing if you can be with whatever is in the body and see if that doesn't loosen up the need to think. It may come back, but you might find a period of a few moments of more calm. So hopefully the mind is a little more centered, a little more calm. If you'd like to move to more open awareness, an awareness of awareness, I'll give a little instructions on that. I would say if you're feeling rather sleepy, sometimes this can create even more sleepiness or won't help much with sleepiness. So then it's maybe better to stick with one object, one point of concentration. But otherwise, I invite you to move the awareness to hearing, to sounds. Just a receptive listening or hearing. Besides my voice, maybe you can notice other sounds, maybe from the street or in your home. And we don't want to label the objects or even think about what they might be, but just noticing that there is hearing, that there is a process and experience of hearing. You might even feel like your awareness is in your ears. And then when you feel like you got your awareness in your ears and you're hearing, you're aware of hearing, then try to include feeling, sensing. So dropping into the body with the awareness and just noticing whatever sensations are in the body. Again, not focusing in on any one thing, but just a general knowing. And then seeing if you can do both at the same time. Hearing, being aware of hearing, and sensing, being aware of sensing. And if you are sleepy, but still want to try this, you can open your eyes, kind of look downward with a soft gaze, and then be aware of seeing as well. In fact, you can try this whether you're sleepy or not. And then just noticing how the body is aware naturally, all by itself. Sensations are present, hearing is present, seeing is present. You can even with your eyes closed see by kind of looking into the back of your eyelids, into what's probably darkness, but there might even be images. Just with a very open awareness, noticing all this at once. But not too much effort though. Don't want to over effort. Want to stay relaxed, but nice and present, nice and bright, nice and open. When thoughts arise, we're just aware of them. We don't feed them. We don't follow them. We just watch them come into the space of awareness, into the open sky of awareness, and just pass on through. If you know that your body is feeling sensation, experiencing sensation, if you know that your ears are hearing, your eyes are seeing, then you're being aware of awareness. Being aware of that natural state of awareness that is always present, but that we often miss because we're lost in thought or distracted by one thing or another. Like we sometimes do at the end, you might even imagine or push your awareness a little beyond your physical form into your energy field. And just notice how you can be aware, and we are aware, beyond our skin. Very good. So now, as we wind down, wherever you might be, your attention, let's come back to our bodies, come back to the belly. Re-embody our awareness, re-ground ourselves. Present moment. Feel your body again, feel your belly, feel the breath. Maybe feel your heart center, your chest. And just take a moment to thank yourself for this practice, for taking this time to give yourself this wonderful gift. And keep in mind, this is a practice that we do not only for our own well-being, but the well-being of all people, our earth, other beings, other life forms. We do it to have the appropriate response, right? And that we have others on this call doing the same, just bringing them to mind, bringing them to the heart. Imagining you could give them all a big awareness hug. And when you hear the sound of the bell, as always, just see what comes up. It's just a practice. It might be a bit of, oh, I don't want to stop, or gosh, what took so long? There we go. Thank you very much, everyone. You know, I realized for the second or third week in a row, I forgot to give another helpful tool for the awareness of awareness. So I'm going to go ahead and say it now while it's in my mind, and hopefully you'll remember. And that is if you're kind of stuck or you're not feeling like you're really getting it, imagine or bring to mind being in the witness place, right? The testigo, where we're witnessing what the body is experiencing. For me anyway, sometimes I need to bring that to mind to kind of remember, okay, this is the point of view I want to have, is that of a witness, observing. And there was a wonderful little quote from Ram Dass. He's passed, of course, but his team, I guess, continues to send out these little, they call them words of wisdom. And so the one that came today had to do with it. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to try to find it and then I'll put it on the screen. I think if I have that page up, then I go to you guys and I hit share screen. Yeah. So can you see words of wisdom from Ram Dass on the screen? No? Okay. So yeah, I mean, you guys can read it, but I'll read it as well. One part of getting free free into the soul or into the witness is the ability to stand back a little bit, because now you're identified with being the witness rather than being the player. It's kind of, Ram Dass sort of 60s talk, being the player. And thus you can see the play more clearly. When in Buddhism, we try not to identify, period. But if you're going to identify with anything, identifying with the witness is going to be a much safer place, a place where you're going to be able to see, as he points out, the whole play more clearly. And sometimes for me, if I just remind myself, okay, what am I witnessing? It's like, what am I watching? Like as if it was a play and I'm in the audience now rather than being one of the actors on the play, on the stage. What am I observing? And if we can kind of get into that perspective, chances are you're in what we are now calling, or what I'm calling, awareness of awareness, or natural awareness. So are there any questions, or anybody who'd like to just comment? Tell me about your experience with, I'm especially curious how the awareness of awareness is going or not. Was there anybody who kind of felt a tingling kind of at the level of the skin in the awareness of awareness? Was there a little current of energy or anything for anybody? Carlos got a thumbs up for that one. This is something that is cultivated, okay? And I don't know whether the body always has this energy and that we just become more aware of it, more connected to it with practice, or whether the attention to it cultivates it and it starts to grow. But it can be very pleasurable, very nice, right? And so once we start to cultivate this little energy, what some people call piti, Pali word, piti, now you've got something really nice that kind of hooks you, right? It makes you kind of want to practice, which is a good thing, right? It's almost like nature, God, or however you think we got here, gave us these little carrots, these little rewards for doing the right thing, right? And sitting and just being present in the present moment, present with our sense doors, is a good thing. And over time, it can be super pleasurable. But it's not something that comes right away. It comes with practice. I have found, though, that a more open awareness tends to cultivate, for me, I might be the only person on the planet that it works this way, but hopefully not. But I find a more open awareness where I kind of push or fill my body with awareness tends to bring the tingling about a little bit faster than, let's say, if I just focus on the breath. For me, it's because there's maybe a little too much tension when I have to concentrate on just one thing like that. I know to let go. And when I do, yeah, the pleasurable sensations come as well. But for the open one, it tends to come a little bit faster. And I say this because I want you guys to get hooked. I want you to love it, right? Because it is such a wonderful practice. There's no better thing I think we can do for ourselves and others than to do this practice. And the more, the better. Or maybe you don't do it all day, then you won't be able to do anything else. But if you can do it several times a day for 10 minutes, or, a solid half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, build up even from there, really start to get some benefits. I guarantee it, or your money back. So let's see. Yeah, maybe we'll go a little bit to the compassion part. And we'll want to make sure. No questions about the meditation, huh? Or nobody wants to share? Okay. Oh, yes. Javier, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I want to say that I have a period about 2 minutes that is like you said, I was very leisure and no effort. But was before you said awareness of the awareness. I enter in that state, and then this disappeared. But it's the second time I have this this state.
Fantastic, Javier. That's wonderful. It's a state of samadhi. And the main instruction or the main response that you'll often get from a teacher, though, about it, besides saying that's so wonderful, is don't get attached to it. Don't cling to it or want it to come, because the wanting could keep it from coming, right? Just keep on going the way you've been going, and if it comes again, great. And enjoy it while it's there. That's so wonderful. But don't meditate trying to achieve it, because it may not come, and then you might feel some frustration. But that's fabulous. Yeah, that's a state of samadhi, and usually we get it, maybe short periods. Like it sounds like 3 minutes. That's a long time. That's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, one I often don't say it as much as I think it's useful to say, but this is very much about relaxing, in the sense that we're letting go. Right? We're just relaxing into the present moment, letting go of any clinging at all. This is where we want to go. Okay. I mean, not so much relaxing where that, you end up falling asleep. You want to stay bright. You want to stay awake. You want to just let go and just relax. And that's really where the fruits start to bubble up. And feel free to kind of experiment, find what works for you. Like I found a real silly one. So I often have a cushion in front of me, and then I put my hands on the cushion, right? And I am thurdo, I'm left-handed. So I often have, whatever reason, my left hand on top of my right hand. Now this is the opposite of what like the Zen practice would tell you, or whatever. You're supposed to have the left on the bottom and the right on the top. So what often will happen, sometimes I'll relax so much that I'll just start to go like this, right? And, which by the way, because of the background screen, maybe I'll take it off. Because the background screen does a mirror image. Oh, I guess no, just the camera. Okay, had nothing to do with the background screen. So for me, I'm going left. This is the direction that I tend to drift. And, if you talk to people who've been to Burma and they've been to monasteries there where people are doing deep samadhi practice, in their yanas and stuff, their face will be almost on the ground. They're just so relaxed that they're not asleep. They're fully awake but absorbed. Right? So it's not a terrible thing. But I want to stay erect, and I keep thinking I'm going to hit the ground, right? So I'll drift. So what I realized is if I changed my hands, I don't actually drift to the left, but I will drift straight. It's just the smallest little thing, but it made a huge difference in the terms of the direction that I might lean. So now I'm doing it the other way. And it's kind of like writing with your other hand, right? We have our favorite leg position. You know, I usually sit, they call it the Burmese style. That's just a coincidence that I use the Burmese style of sitting because I can't do a lotus. But I usually have my left foot forward and my right foot behind it. That's just, I guess you might say the dominant way that my body wants to sit. But sometimes I'll reverse it. And I have a little cushion just in case, because the knee kind of flies when I do that. And it just feels different, right? It's almost like using the other side of the brain. And it's the same thing with this. And I kind of make up that, at least for my brain, where I'm very right-brained, analytical, accountant, that type of thing, that I want to be in the left part of the brain, the more spatial part of the brain. And I think by using these other ways, it helps me get into that more spatial side of the brain when I use the non-dominant. Like a lot of times, if you were to do a purpose quest, where you're looking, they call them something quest. Forget the first word, but where you're trying to get in touch with your soul's purpose, your life's purpose, your inner truth, that type of thing, they'll often ask you to write with your opposite hand, because that might connect more. Anna Monica's helped me. Vision quest. Yeah, vision quest, where the vision is going inside, right? So yeah, we just, kind of experiment, see which one, turns you on more. Maybe that's kind of using Ram Dass language. Which one is more groovy for you? Which one? Okay, so I'll just go a little bit, we have a few minutes, to this article in Tricycle, which is a monthly publication, Buddhist publication. And I think this might have been a piece from a retreat that Christina Feldman and Chris Cullen of Gaia House in England did. And it has to do with compassion. And they wrote it back in May when, hell, we were only in the coronavirus pandemic for 2 months back then. Now we've been, 5+ months, right? But I still think it kind of applies. So let's see, let me find it because I put it up on the page. Go back to share screen. So this one, I know Nacho's on the call. He might connect with this too. This talking about empathy, which for me, I often think of my meditation practice as giving myself an empathy bath. An empathy bath or an empathy shower, una ducha de empatía, right? Because it's just such kind listening and it just feels so good emotionally. So the first thing I'm going to read is what's called the Bodhisattva vow. And this is something that I think is attributed not to the Buddha, but it's very Buddhist. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Afflictions are perpetual. I vow to bring them to an end. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter and understand them. The Buddha's way is unsurpassable, and I vow to attain it. So, sounds kind of impossible, and probably for most of us it is. But this is the path. This is the Bodhisattva's path. This is the Bodhisattva vow. So this is about compassion and empathy, and I really liked the last few paragraphs here. So I thought I would read them, because especially if you're, in the United States, but who knows? Maybe here in Spain too, if it's true, that the president of the Comunidad of Madrid has just locked down the areas of immigration, of the immigrants, then it's possible that some of the racism that happens in the United States also happens here. I hope that's not so, but when compassion calls for a fierce no, a fierce protest against unethical activity against those who perpetuate suffering, racism, violence, or greed, can there also be the wisdom of not othering, not blaming, right? Because this practice is about waking up from the illusion of separateness and realizing that we're all interconnected. We're one. This othering, we call it othering, right? Where they're different, those others are different. Can there also be the wisdom of not othering, not blaming, not turning people into an enemy? And this really resonated with me because right now in the United States, oh my God, a cherished Supreme Court justice has just passed away. It would be appropriate that they wait to the election because it's appointed by the president. Wait for the election to see who's going to take her place. And instead, the Republicans, like the hypocrites that they are going to try to appoint somebody. It just, and it makes it very difficult to love them, to be compassionate. So these two, right. This is probably one of the greatest challenges of developing compassion. To know how to bring that same empathy to ignorance as we would to blameless or innocent suffering. It's not difficult to find compassion for a crying child or the frailty of a very elderly person struggling to get through their day. But in our practice, we are asked to leave no one out of our widening field of concern and care, including Mitch McConnell. I didn't write that, but I'm writing. Ajahn Sucitto, as some of you have probably heard of, he lives in England now, a teacher in the Thai forest tradition of Theravada Buddhism, recommends one practice called just like me. And I really like this. I think Anna Monica's nodding. She probably uses it. Just like me. In situations of suffering, we practice seeing the common humanity and shared vulnerability we all have. We might hear a siren go by and be reminded of human vulnerability and think, oh, just like me. When we see someone behaving in a way that we consider wrong, we practice recognition of the just like me vulnerability that we share, our common vulnerability to impulsiveness, reactivity, greed, hatred, and delusion. It's not about what we feel or what we can actually accomplish. It's about the intentions that we commit to and embody in our lives. Compassion is a practice of seeing beyond the automatic reactivity of the heart and is striving to achieve the goals of the impossible vow, the Bodhisattva's vow. So for those of you who are not following American politics, maybe this doesn't really resonate with kind of burningness like it does for me, but it does here. I mean, shit's going on here too, I know a lot of people are very upset with this president, Diaz, I think her name is, of Madrid. A lot of people don't like, the president of the country. I mean, there's a lot of not liking and then othering, or blaming or whatever. And so this is a chance for us to really practice at a deep level, right? And one thing I really love about nonviolent communication, I've often said this, that to me, it was a shorter path to compassion than is Buddhism for me. Because when I get to the needs, and all needs being beautiful, all needs being wonderful, all needs being universal, I can then have some compassion for those people, even if their actions I don't agree with at all. And so hopefully, the needs are to serve, to do the right thing, to protect, for the politicians, right? To protect their pueblo, to protect their people, hopefully that's where it's coming from, you know, from a pure, wonderful, universal place. And I think I'll end with just a short little story. So regarding Saladana, regarding the reforma, the construction, the finishing up of the work. So I had ordered kind of like, not soundproof exactly, but aislamiento is what it's called in Spanish. Glass for the doors that will block out all the sound from the street, or as much as possible. And the doors came, but they didn't have that. So I said, no, I want that. That's very important because it's a, you know, kind of a noisy street. So the company came and took the glass, left the door frame, and disappeared for 6 weeks. They were gone. They weren't responding to my text, weren't responding to my calls, nothing. So finally, so I thought, okay, I'm going to try a different response, right? My nice WhatsApps are not working. So I've been watching this Spanish series called oh, I always forget the name. It's got a weird name, Unforgivable Life or something like that. But they swear like truck drivers in this thing. They're coño this, joder that, hostia this, you know. So I thought, okay, I'm going to use some swear words here. Where is my coño glass, my cristal? Where is the joder company? Guess what? In 2 hours, I had the glass. And I felt really bad, right? I felt bad, but we now have glass, thanks to coño. Apparently that worked. I don't know how, but. So sometimes the appropriate response isn't quite as obvious as other times, but, you know, maybe takes a little push. Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop there. Is there anybody who'd like to say something, or please say something? Anybody?
I was going to ask what
It was quiet. It was too quiet.
What the moral of that story was.
Regarding the glass?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the appropriate response, because, you know, Jack Kornfield tells a similar story, the great teacher from America, where he was renovating his kitchen and he was getting ready to go on, I think, a vacation, and he wanted it done before he went, and it wasn't happening. Finally, he got mad and he swore at the construction people, and guess what? They got it done. So maybe just in the world of contractors, construction, reforma, you need to use those words, or else they don't even hear you. You know, it's like when you guys are all on mute. I think for them, they just see your mouth moving, but they don't hear any words.
Well,
Story.
No, I think it goes with the article. The thing I loved about the article was the phrase, the fierce no, because I think we've all had experiences where either we have allowed something to continue, or someone else has allowed us to continue something that is not wise and not skillful, and that only makes the situation worse. And if you can embrace that idea of a fierce no, and try to resolve the issue so it doesn't fester in you or in them, that actually seems skillful to me. And I think that's probably something we could all benefit from, without then allowing your anger to turn that person into the other or something less. So I really like that.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. That's
I just had my office redone, and I didn't have to do any swearing, but it got pretty close. So,
you know, thank you for that, because really that is exactly how it felt. You know, it felt like a fierce no more, no longer. basta. And it just felt very clear. Yeah, thank you very much. That was, and it was festering in me. I'd go put my head on the pillow and I'd dar vueltas. I would be, how am I going to get these guys to put in the glass? You know what? So yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I wanted to show you guys real quickly some photos. I'll just do it real fast. Not that one. Let's see. Oh, you guys aren't shared yet. Let's see. And I'll go back to you guys. Let's see, share screen. Oh, where are photos? Photos. Yeah, so there's the door, and you could tell there's glass in it, right? It's reflecting. Let's see, can I move it while you guys are sharing? It turns out the color I chose is not going to be liked by the mayor's office, I heard, the ayuntamiento. It's too different. So I'm going to paint it again, but that's the color it is now. I kind of like it.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah, but I'm learning that in Madrid, in the center, it has to be very close to the fachada, or else some people think they might even give you a multa, ticket.
Because the contrast is even nice, the pink against the peach. But anyway, just
no
say.
contrast. That's
that's the no-no. I see.
No. Even got our little kitchen, our little tea area all back in place, ready to go, waiting for you guys.
It's gorgeous.
Here's the here's just another little photo. Entrance. Now, here everybody will laugh, but and here is our new bathroom. Woo woo! It was funny. Yesterday I was on an intercambio call, and there was a lady who specialized in personas discapacidades, right? People, handicapped people or whatever. So I showed her the bathroom. And they were all laughing. Why did I bring a toilet into an intercambio Zoom call? But I wanted her to approve our work. Anyways, so that's it. If nobody has anything to say, we could do a little meditation. And then for those who want to stick around, we could break into small groups. And by the way, if anybody wants to say something to me just in private, hang back from the small groups, and then you'll be with me. So would anybody like to say anything? No? Okay, why don't we do a little meditation, and then we'll break into small. Anna Monica, do you have a dedication of the merit that you want to dedicate, or not?
I have, give me a minute, maybe. I have lots of different things to share, but I don't know if there's something appropriate to what you've shared already.
Okay, we'll do that, and then I'll open my eyes, and if your thumb is up, then I know you want to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, let's find our comfortable posture again, if you don't already have it. And then bringing the awareness to the heart center. So we'll offer well-being, loving kindness to ourselves, to the first responders, to a difficult person, and then all beings. Starting with ourselves. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I live with ease. And now bringing to mind those people who are working on the front lines of the pandemic, maybe in a hospital, or even the clerks in stores, or those families who have experienced loss, illness. May they be happy. May they be well. May they be safe. May they live with ease. Now let's imagine, bring to mind somebody who we are having some difficulty with. Maybe a resentment towards somebody who hurt our feelings in some way, said something we didn't like, maybe did something we didn't like. Let's give it a shot, see if we can offer loving kindness, well wishes to them. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you live with ease. And finally, all beings in all directions, without exception. Just imagine this compassion, this loving kindness extending out. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. Okay. And Monica will take us out.
This is the prayer that's shared by one of our teachers in San Francisco, Howie Cohen. Quite often it's the Shantideva prayer. Shantideva is an 8th century Indian Buddhist monk and has various translations. This one reads as follows. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector of those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with oceans to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, and a servant to all in need. For as long as space endures and for as long as living beings remain, until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. And one of my favorite quotes right now from Sharon Salzberg, compassion does not mean we do not fight. It means we do not hate.
Thank you, Anna Monica. So thank you, everyone. That was lovely. And yeah, you know, Sharon Salzberg also said something just this week, I think, reminding us that at any time we can start again, right? When we're meditating, we get lost in thought, we can start again. And in our practice, in our lives, if we've drifted a little bit off the path, we can start again, no problem. So yeah, I'll make some groups if there is some interest in that. Give it a moment and we'll see who's still standing or sitting. Bye, Laura. Or even, Laura, are you leaving? Is that why you waved? Okay. Okay. I see there's some chatting going on. I don't tend to follow it, so hopefully, maybe Anna Monica, are you following it? Lots of thanks. Okay.
Yes. And someone asked about the Shantideva prayer.
Mhm.
Lots of, or several variations online if you just put it in.
Yeah, I think it's like the Dalai Lama's favorite teacher or somebody of that stature's favorite teacher, Shantideva.
Mm.
Okay, here we go. We will break out into a couple rooms here. See, last time this happened where there were 4 in one and 2 in another. So I'm going to move to make it like that. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Oh, I think I did something wrong. There we go. Perfect.